4 simple drawings. 6 seconds of slick animation. Hey homies, what's up? I'm Ryan Wynn, and this is Running Lapse. Alright everybody, welcome to the show. So in this episode, we have a lot of flashing lights and a lot of flashing imagery. So if you are sensitive to that, I am going to give you a warning. If not, be ready to possibly have a seizure induced anyways from all the flashing. Let me know if this is too much to watch or too much to handle. So what I did here, we didn't do anything. What I did here was take these 4 illustrations, and you saw the pink line that I did that maps out the course that the Batwing is going to take. The mistake I made was I laid out a bunch of this stuff before I colored the pieces, so then I had to go in individually and color them. But that was okay. I moved pretty quick, and I figured out my method. So you'll see I took those 4 simple images, and I've stretched and squashed and pulled and shrink and reduce, and I'm bouncing it around, making it a real rubbery object, even though it's a hard metal ship. When you're animating, you want to create movement and bounce that sort of makes up for the lack of real world physics. And by sort of rubberizing your objects, you can bring a lot of life to something, even like the Batwing. Now, one of the techniques you'll see me use a lot is this glowing light effect. Now in Procreate, it's a luminescence setting, or the luminescence tab, and it has a bunch of different pens and light flares and things like that create these light effects. And I'm sort of swiping the idea from the old Rankin Bass cartoons, which I've mentioned in previous episodes, like Thundercats and Silverhawks and things like that. I have yet to look up how they did those effects back in the old days with classic traditional cell animation. I'm going to be doing that. I'm very curious about that. But this is really easy to do digitally. Now you'll see here I'm laying in the clouds below. Those are going to come in later as one of the trickiest things I've had to do in animation yet. Now bear in mind I've only been animating for a few months here. I started when I was a kid, but that was just for fun, and it's something I've always wanted to do more of and always studied. Now here you see I've laid out my pink map for trajectory, and that's going to give me the placement for everything I need. And it doesn't flash up back and forth, but I was opening it up back and forth quite constantly just to make sure everything's lined up. Oh, there it goes. Now the smoke effect is really fun. It's super tedious, but it's really meditative, and I like things that they force you to focus. They force you to be in the now, in the moment, and working step by step like that, you really can't have any distractions. And when you have something that takes this long to do and you can really get into it, man, you can get lost in a good way. Before you know it, you've got 3 seconds of smoke going by, and an hour passed in the real world, but you weren't thinking about that at all. Now here's the tricky part, the camera turn. So I drew the clouds, and then I would slide them over a little and draw a little more to the right. Slide them over, draw some more to the right. Slide it over, draw more to the right. I know in After Effects and Photoshop and stuff like that, I could have done it where I had a sort of laid out that whole thing as one big image and slid it to the right. But in Procreate, once the image leaves the canvas, it clips it, unlike in Photoshop. So here, playing with, let's see, do I add the headlights here? In a second, I'm going to be adding the headlights, which that was a really fun half second. You see the headlights come on right as he's about to crash through the clouds. And then the piece I want to add after this, he'll be crashing through the bat symbol that is shining on the underside of these clouds. So here you go. Here's the final product. We'll loop it through a couple times so you can see. And if you need something to read, don't forget, I've got a book that I wrote and colored, and my friend Dean Kotz did the art. It's called Gods and Gears. You can get that at alternateaccess.com. So until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take it easy.